think you can see why now I want a writing word for Kenny Green. All you have to do is turn on the tape recorder and make sure you get the quotes right. We're going to do a Q&A session, brief Q&A here for the audience. But first, Ken, I just want to ask you real quick. Tell everybody your plans about playing competitive golf again, where you are, and how conceivable it is that a person that went through what you went through with half a leg now could make it on the Champions Tour, because you've had some success already in your brief try.
Okay. Well, you know, it's been a struggle. We've had a lot of nerve damage, but my goal is to play golf, and I honestly believe that I can play golf again. And the biggest thing that you need is determination. You can overcome anything. If you have enough determination and enough will and enough guts, you'll figure out a way. My teacher and I will figure out a way how to make swings. There's certain shots that I literally just, well, I said the wrong word there. It just, that I can't hit anymore because of the fact that the legs just doesn't work. You know, like, it's just something you don't think about, but I do intend to play again. I will be extremely disappointed in myself if I don't go out there and play some more professional golf. I mean, if you have determination, you can do it.
Let's open it up.
I grew up idolizing Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson. You know, Jack Nicklaus is absolutely the class of the class. How he's handled things and how he's managed, to me, has been wonderful. And maybe it's because I'm an old goat, but I'm really not. Whatever Tiger does, he's phenomenal, and he will get it back once he gets his brain back on track. But trying to compare those two is so hard because there's so many variables. You know, everyone always talks about the golf courses and the equipment, you know, technology. You know, the one thing they don't mention very often is how good the greens are now versus when, you know, Jack played or when I played, you know, spikes. You guys that used to play with spikes, you know what they used to do to the greens. You know, they can literally go a whole tournament and go and not miss a putt inside 8 feet. You could never do that back in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. And I just think those two guys are in a class by themselves in terms of golf and skills. There's another one. Okay. Technically it's 5, but I kind of consider it 6 in that they were talking about the rules, and I finished second once, and someone forgot to sign their scorecard, and it didn't get noticed for a few years later. So I kind of count that as like a half a win. I didn't win it, but it's a half a win. But I won what I consider 9, you know, pretty good golf tournaments. I did play in a Ryder Cup, which I thought was incredible feeling. What it does for you emotionally in that heart, you just, I don't know if you guys think about, you know, when you're playing your really best round or you're in a tournament and you're close to winning, that little extra pump feeling you guys get when you have it. At the Ryder Cup, it's all 3 days that you're playing, and it's really intense. If you go on to play golf, you have to have that as one of your goals, is to play in a Ryder Cup.
What is your favorite sport other than golf?
Okay, technically. No, I'm actually pretty good at bowling. I've managed to pick off a few 300s. I love platform tennis. I was actually playing with Craig Thomas, of course, at Metropolis the other day, and we were actually going to play my first time since the accident to see if I could, you know, move somewhat a little bit. And we didn't end up doing it, but bowling, I love football and baseball as a spectator. Obviously, I'm way too short, fat for those sports.
platform. When he had 2 legs, he would go over the net into the wall. Through the shot.
Well, you know, he's telling the truth there.
Good list of golf records.
One of our rules was this: if you hit the person, you automatically won that point. So we called it skins, but it's just part of being competitive. You know, that's just the competitive nature of me. Whatever we do, if we were to go out and goof around outside, whatever it was, some people have it and enjoy it, and that gives you that extra high. And some people can, you know, switch it off. You know, not be so competitive. I'm not so good. Yeah, I'm a dog nut. So I mean, some people, if you're a real dog person, you can understand, and if you're not, you look at me like I'm some sort of whack. We were out playing ball, and a ball hit his tooth and went over the fence into the canal. And I was debating whether to let him go get it or not, simply because the canals are kind of, you know, filthy. So I said, well, I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'll give him a bath. He's due anyway. So, you know, I gave him the signal, and he jumped the fence and just splashed into the water. And 1 second later, there was another splash. So I was like, oh, God. And I ran over and jumped over the fence, and my dog was swimming towards me, and there's this alligator swimming angle, you know, trying to, you know, was going to, you know, bring it down. And I still remember talking to myself, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? What should I do? You know, because it's one of those situations you just don't ever expect. And then out of nowhere, the gator got there and just brought him down. And, you know, she was a big dog. She was a German Shepherd. And I jumped in the water, and I was up to my neck. And literally, you know how you see those movies where, you know, there's a lot of movement and that gator's swirling around and doing the roll? There was nothing. It was total silence and calm. And I still remember saying, what did I do? I can't believe I screwed this up. And then all of a sudden, about 15, 30 seconds later, the gator popped up, and all you could see was the back of his tail and his back. And I walked over to it, still in the water, and I was literally as close as I am to the mic, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And this thing was huge, by the way. and so I finally wrapped my hand around the back of the meat of her tail and went underneath her stomach and just yanked it as hard as I could. And I held on to the tail, and the gator came back, you know, let go of my dog and came back at me. And we rolled backwards, and the gator rolled then. I don't know if I held on for 1 second, or I had no idea. All I know is, you know, next thing I know, I popped up in the water and I looked, and the gator was maybe 15 feet away from me, looking at me, and my dog was trying to get back to shore. And I was just lucky. I think the gator was so shocked that it went from being the hunter to the hunted. But we got fortunate. My dog ended up with about 20 stitches, but because the gator had got her right in between both sets of her front feet and her back feet, and she lived. So it was, it's just one of those stories that you just don't really expect to have to do in life. And we got lucky. She was just a wonderful.